Las Vegas used to be the place where the deal was always in your favor, or at least felt that way. The hotels were cheap, the shows were accessible, the drinks kept coming, and the whole city ran on the cheerful fiction that you were getting away with something. Now people are voting with their feet and their wallets by simply not showing up. This is why nobody goes to Las Vegas anymore. Not what you think. The numbers are impossible to ignore. Let's start with the data, because the data is jarring. Las Vegas hit a peak of 42.5 million visitors in 2019, the highest number ever recorded. Then the pandemic cratered everything. The city dropped to 19 million visitors in 2020 when travel restrictions effectively shut it down for months. But Vegas bounced back hard. By 2021, it had climbed back to 32.2 million. By 2022, 38.8 million. By 2023, 40.8 million. By 2024, 41.7 million. The trajectory was pointing straight back to the all-time record, and the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority was making optimistic noises about recapturing and surpassing the 2019 peak. And then 2025 happened. In 2025, Las Vegas saw approximately 35.4 million visitors, a drop of 7.4% from the previous year, and the worst decline since the pandemic. Every single month of 2025 recorded a year-over-year decrease. Not some months, all 12. July alone saw a 12% drop compared to July 2024, the second straight month of double-digit percentage decline. December closed out the year with a 9.2% decline during what should be one of the busiest travel periods of the year. Harry Reid International Airport saw a 6% drop in passenger traffic for the full year, with December traffic falling 10.3%. Average hotel occupancy for the year dropped 3.3%. The average daily room rate fell 5%. Revenue per available room, the hospitality industry's key profitability metric, dropped 8.8% from 2024. Room occupancy during some months fell to 76.1%, a significant pullback from the high 80s that defined Las Vegas's post-pandemic surge years. The city's gaming win, the total amount the casinos kept from gamblers, was also down in December, suggesting that the people who did show up were gambling less or losing less, or both. The Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority, which tracks these numbers, noted that the 2025 visitor total closely mirrors the levels seen in 2000, 2002, and 2003. In other words, Las Vegas effectively lost more than 2 decades of tourism growth in a single calendar year. The year 2000 was when the Bellagio had been open for 2 years, when the Venetian was brand new, when the current Strip hadn't yet taken its modern form. That's how far back the numbers went. As the LVCVA itself put it, Las Vegas is often a reflection of the broader U.S. economy. Because we operate at high volume across every consumer segment, shifts in spending and behavior tend to surface here first. That's a careful way of saying that when people start cutting back, Las Vegas is one of the first places they cut. It's also a convenient way of framing a problem that is only partly about the broader economy and very substantially about decisions the industry made itself. What everyone assumes and why they're half wrong. The obvious assumption is that people stopped going to Las Vegas because of the economy. Consumer confidence softening, credit card debt at record highs, inflation making discretionary spending harder. The CEO of Caesars Entertainment acknowledged on an earnings call that Las Vegas would see a soft summer in 2025, framing it primarily as a reflection of consumer spending pressure. Andrew Woods, who heads the Center for Business and Economic Research at UNLV, said, "I think this is more of a microcosm of where the American consumer is than necessarily telling us where the American economy is going. All of that is real, and all of it contributed. But the economy alone doesn't explain what happened to Las Vegas specifically. Other travel destinations didn't see anything close to a 7.4% year-over-year drop in 2025. National parks were busy. International travel from Americans was up. Disney World moderated, but didn't collapse. The city of Nashville had record tourism years. Something specific to Las Vegas is driving a specific response from travelers who have options and are choosing to exercise them. The second assumption is that online gambling has cannibalized the casino floor. Why fly to Nevada and pay for a hotel when you can open an app and play from your couch? That's also partially true. The online gambling market is expected to nearly double in size between 2024 and 2030, according to Grandview Research, and the growth of legal online sports betting across dozens of states has absolutely taken money that previously flowed to Nevada. The 2025 G2E Gaming Industry Conference in Las Vegas had online gambling as its central focus for exactly this reason. The industry can see what's happening to its own model and knows it needs to respond. But neither of those explanations fully accounts for the scale of the retreat. To understand what's really happening, you have to look at what Las Vegas has been doing to its own guests. The great nickel and dimming. Here's the thing about Las Vegas that made it great for most of its modern history. It was a place where the math was transparently in the house's favor on the casino floor. But the hotel was cheap, the food was cheap, the drinks were free, and the whole experience felt generously priced because the casinos were making their money from the tables. You were being taken, you knew it, they knew it, and everyone involved had agreed to make the transaction as entertaining as possible. The comp system rewarded loyalty. The buffets were legendary. The show tickets were affordable. Las Vegas operated on the theory that if you kept people there, fed them cheaply, entertained them affordably, and kept the drinks flowing, they'd keep gambling, and the gambling revenue would cover everything. That deal is gone, and its absence is the biggest story in Las Vegas tourism right now. The shift began in the 2000s when the big casino operators started discovering that non-gaming revenue, hotel fees, dining, nightclubs, pools, could be captured and grown independently rather than using those amenities as loss leaders to attract gamblers. It was a legitimate business insight, but the execution over the following decade pushed past the point where guests felt the trade was still fair. The resort fee, in particular, represents a specific kind of dishonesty. You advertise a room at one price and charge a higher price after the booking is made. Multiple states have investigated resort fees as potentially deceptive. The Federal Trade Commission has engaged with the issue. Consumer protection legislation has been proposed. None of it has changed the fees because the hospitality lobby is powerful and the fees are profitable. Resort fees are the most obvious and most resented example. Nearly every hotel on the Strip now charges a mandatory daily resort fee separate from the room rate, a fee that must be paid regardless of whether you use the amenities it supposedly covers: the pool, the gym, the Wi-Fi that you could get on your phone anyway. As of 2025, resort fees on the Strip range from $40 to $65 per night before tax. The average resort fee across tracked Las Vegas properties hit $40.04 in 2025. Out of 90 hotels tracked in Las Vegas, 45 increased their fees in recent months. If you stayed one night in each of those 90 hotels, it would cost you $3,812 in resort fees alone, an average of $42.36 per hotel. None of those fees include the room itself. MGM Resorts raised its resort fees twice in 2024, once in January, once in December, on top of raising parking fees in the same period. That's not a typo. Twice in one calendar year, for the same fees, at the same hotels. Luxury properties like Bellagio, Aria, and Wynn now charge approximately $55 per night in resort fees. A 5-night trip for 2 people at a premium property means paying an additional $550 in resort fees before you've bought a single drink or placed a single bet. The fee is presented as covering specific amenities, but you're paying it whether you use those amenities or not, which is why courts in multiple states have considered whether resort fees constitute deceptive pricing. Parking, which was free at essentially every casino hotel until the mid-2000s, now costs $20 to $25 per day for self-parking at MGM properties and similar rates elsewhere. Valet has reached $40 per day at MGM hotels. MGM was charging locals a maximum time limit for how long they could stay in the parking structure. Not guests of the hotel, but people coming to eat or gamble or shop at the resort. When visitor numbers dropped in 2025, some resorts quietly reversed that policy and started running campaigns to bring locals back, which tells you everything you need to know about how far they had pushed it. At least one Strip property began charging a $60 early check-in fee. Not for a room upgrade, not for a suite, just for the privilege of checking in 2 hours ahead of the standard 3 p.m. window. A bottle of water from the minibar at the Aria cost $26. A TM fees at the Venetian reach $45. MGM Resorts. Properties charge $7.99 to $8.99 per ATM withdrawal. Caesars properties went from $9.99 to $11.99 late in 2023. Room service at MGM properties includes a $25 charge for utensils and napkins. Free drinks for gamblers, one of Las Vegas's most fundamental social contracts with its visitors, are being quietly walked back at some properties, with machines now requiring a minimum level of play before dispensing a drink voucher. There's a soda machine in the valet area at some properties. Think about that. You just paid $40 for valet parking at a casino, and now they're charging you for a soda on your way in. I love paying for an experience, one longtime visitor told the Las Vegas Review-Journal. But if you are going to nickel and dime me, in my mind, what you're doing is saying, I will prey on your ignorance. Former Las Vegas Mayor Shelley Berkeley acknowledged the problem publicly. If you have to pay $70 for valet parking, you're going to find out very quickly people don't want to pay $70 for parking. A 2024 study by Forbes Advisor found Las Vegas is one of the most expensive places to visit in the United States, with a 47% increase in hotel accommodation prices, a 61% increase in car rentals, and a 14% increase in daily meal costs over the previous 5 years. Nearly 90% of survey respondents in 2025 labeled Las Vegas as too expensive. That's not a fringe opinion. That's near consensus. The casino floor has changed too. Beyond the hotel fees, the casino experience itself has changed in ways that veteran visitors notice immediately. The table minimums have risen dramatically. Games that once started at $5 or $10 per hand now start at $25 or $50 on most Strip properties during busy periods. The house edge on many games has quietly crept upward. Single-deck blackjack, once available as a player-friendly game, has largely been replaced by 6-deck or 8-deck shoes with rules modifications that reduce the player's odds. 6-to-5 blackjack payouts, instead of the traditional 3-to-2, have become widespread on the Strip, which increases the house edge significantly and costs players measurable money over the course of a session. A $25 minimum table paying 6-to-5 instead of 3-to-2 represents a much worse deal than the $5 table paying 3-to-2 that a veteran visitor remembers. Slot machines have seen their payback percentages quietly tighten in some properties. The penny slot that used to let you sit for an hour with a $20 bill now eats that 20 faster. The casinos know exactly what they're doing. They have more data about player behavior than any other industry on Earth, and they've used it to optimize extraction at every level of the floor. In 2003, the Las Vegas Strip generated 43% of its total annual revenue from gaming. By 2023, that number had dropped to 35%. The casinos have successfully replaced gambling revenue with non-gaming revenue. Hotel rooms, restaurants, concerts, clubs, pools, but they've done it in a way that raises total trip costs substantially without delivering proportionally more value. The vision of Las Vegas as a place where the casino subsidizes everything else has been reversed. Now everything else costs money on top of the casino, which also costs more than it used to. The average spend per night on lodging hit an all-time high of $179.10 in 2024. Average spending per trip on food and beverage reached $615.07. These are records, but they're not signs of guests spending more happily. They're signs of guests being charged more at every turn by a city that built its entire identity on making you feel like you were getting away with something. The international visitor collapse. The pricing pressure story is happening alongside a separate and significant problem. International tourists have largely stopped coming. Las Vegas welcomes more than 5 million international visitors in a normal year. And international visitors tend to stay longer and spend more per trip than domestic tourists. Losing them has an outsized effect on the economics of the city. In 2025, that number dropped dramatically. International arrivals in June 2025 were down 13% year over year. Canadian visitors, historically one of Las Vegas's largest international tourism groups, fell by an estimated 24% in 2025, dropping from 1.4 million visitors in 2024 to a much lower number. The catalyst was explicitly political. U.S. President Donald Trump's tariff threats and trade war posturing toward Canada, including suggestions about annexing the country, generated a genuine consumer sentiment shift among Canadian travelers. Canadians who had previously made regular trips to Las Vegas began choosing European or Caribbean destinations instead, in a documented pattern that the LVCVA acknowledged directly. Beyond Canada, the proposed $250 visa integrity fee in the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, which would impose an entry fee on visitors from countries including Mexico, Brazil, and India, sent a hostile signal to international tourism broadly. The World Travel and Tourism Council warned in May 2025 that the United States stood to lose $12 billion in international visitor spending. The only major economy among the 186 it analyzed projected to see such a decline. The LVCVA stated directly, Las Vegas welcomes more than 5 million international visitors annually, and the $250 visa integrity fee sends a message that those visitors aren't welcome. Mexico, Brazil, and India represent enormous growth markets for global tourism. Discouraging those travelers with an entry fee doesn't just affect Las Vegas. It redirects them toward competing destinations in Europe, Asia, and Latin America that are actively courting them with welcome messages rather than fee schedules. The Southern California wildfires of early 2025 created an additional drag on one of Las Vegas's most important domestic feeder markets. Southern California, easily within driving distance of the Strip, roughly 4 hours from Los Angeles, is one of the city's largest sources of domestic visitors. Disruptions to that market from wildfire evacuations, road closures, air quality concerns, and the economic aftershock of fire recovery reduced drive traffic from the region during key 2025 travel periods. It's a factor that often gets missed in the broader analysis. Las Vegas doesn't just depend on air travel. A significant portion of its audience drives there. And when the West Coast has problems, Las Vegas feels them quickly. The competition that didn't used to exist. Las Vegas built its dominance during an era when it had no real competitors for the specific experience it offered. Legal gambling, concentrated entertainment, high-end hotels, and adult-oriented nightlife, all in one place. For most of the 20th century, if you wanted that package in the United States, you went to Las Vegas or Atlantic City. And Atlantic City was never in the same league. That monopoly is gone. Legal sports betting is now available in more than 30 states. You can place a bet on your phone from your living room in Ohio or New Jersey without flying anywhere. Legal casino gambling exists in many forms across most of the country, from tribal casinos to riverboat gambling to commercial casinos in states that once didn't permit them. The entertainment and dining offerings that once made Las Vegas unique can now be found in every major American city. Nashville has become one of the dominant bachelor and bachelorette party destinations in the country, offering live music culture, a walkable bar district, and an energy that competes directly with the Strip for the celebration travel market that Las Vegas once owned almost entirely. Miami, Austin, New York, and New Orleans all compete meaningfully for the same dollar. The online gambling market is perhaps the most consequential competitive threat. The ability to gamble, slots, poker, sports betting, table games, from your phone or laptop without paying for a hotel or a flight, is a genuinely different kind of competition that Las Vegas cannot address by building a new resort. You cannot compete with someone's couch on price. The online market is expected to nearly double in size between 2024 and 2030, and every dollar that flows to online gambling is a dollar that previously might have funded a Las Vegas trip. The sports franchises that Las Vegas spent years acquiring have added a new audience and a new reason to visit. The Vegas Golden Knights won the Stanley Cup in their 6th season in 2023. The Las Vegas Raiders relocated from Oakland in 2020. The Las Vegas Aces are a dominant WNBA franchise. The Formula One Las Vegas Grand Prix, held for the first time in November 2023, generated substantial revenue and international attention. The Sphere, which opened in September 2023 and represents the most significant new entertainment venue in Las Vegas in decades, has drawn both visitors and cultural interest that no other city can replicate. These are genuine assets, but they haven't reversed the underlying trend, partly because they're expensive premium experiences layered on top of an already expensive trip, and partly because the events that drive spike visitation are episodic. The Super Bowl that Las Vegas hosted in February 2024 inflated that year's visitor numbers in a way that made the 2025 comparison sharper when the marquee event wasn't there to repeat. The value proposition broke. Here's what it actually comes down to. Las Vegas ran a specific value proposition for decades, and it worked. The promise was that you were going to spend money, the house was going to win in the long run, but in exchange you were going to have an extraordinary time at prices that felt like they were subsidized by your own gambling losses. Cheap hotels, free drinks, cheap buffets, 2-for-1 show tickets. The machine was designed to make you feel like you were getting away with something even as it extracted money from your wallet. It was an elegant piece of consumer psychology, and it created multi-generational loyalty. That deal no longer exists in the form it once did. The subsidies have been stripped away and replaced with transparent additional charges. The cheap hotel now has a $50 resort fee and a $25 daily parking charge on top of the room rate. The free drinks require significant play to activate at some properties. The cheap buffets have either closed or become expensive restaurants. The table minimums have risen. The house edges have increased. What remains is a very expensive vacation destination that still has world-class entertainment, spectacular hotels, and an energy that nowhere else on earth quite matches, but that now costs real money to access in a way that's honest about what you're paying for, rather than entertaining you with the illusion of value. The illusion was part of the product. Once it's gone, the product is genuinely different. One longtime visitor, in a letter to a casino industry publication, put it directly, "My wife and I are celebrating 50 years together in 2025, and first began taking trips to Nevada in the 70s. So much has changed. That casino grab for every dime has gotten crazy. So crazy that even with all the bogus fees, they still have the gall to put a soda machine in the valet area to get your last $3 or $4. It used to be fun, free nickels, 2-for-1 tickets, buffet or meal comps, not anymore." Another frequent visitor, a man from Tennessee named Brett Atiye, told the Las Vegas Review-Journal that he had cut back on trips specifically because of the ridiculous resort and parking fees. "Next year, I might not come at all," he said. "I know Vegas loves to be bigger and better, and there is a feeling that people will continue to pay up. I can tell you, I doubt it." The casino industry apparently needed a collapse in visitation to fully internalize that feedback. As 2025 numbers fell, some resorts began running promotions to waive resort fees, quietly rolled back some of the more aggressive parking policies, and launched campaigns to attract local visitors they had previously been limiting through restrictive parking time caps. Resorts World Las Vegas removed fees and ended parking charges temporarily. The LVCVA launched a campaign called Welcome to Fabulous Las Vegas to address the perception problem. None of that is fixing the fundamental issue, which is that the pricing structure of a Las Vegas trip no longer delivers the implicit value it once did, and travelers, particularly repeat visitors who remember what it used to cost, have noticed, and are making different decisions accordingly. What comes next? The Las Vegas that exists today has real strengths that shouldn't be dismissed. The convention business remains robust. Convention attendance for 2026 is on pace to significantly exceed 2025, with major trade shows returning and new ones expanding. The Las Vegas Convention Center completed a $600 million renovation and hosts roughly 20% of all Las Vegas conventioneers. ConExpo, a massive construction industry trade show held once every 3 years, is expected to be one of the largest shows in Vegas history when it returns in March 2026. Convention visitors spend approximately 3.5 times more per visit than leisure tourists who stay in hotels, making convention business the most economically dense form of Las Vegas tourism. The resort physical product on the Strip is genuinely world-class in a way it has never been before. The hotel rooms, the restaurant lineups, the pool complexes, and the entertainment venues are extraordinary by any global standard. The Sphere is unlike anything else on Earth. A 160,000 square foot LED screen wrapped around a venue with haptic seats and directional audio, offering an experience that genuinely cannot be replicated elsewhere. Residencies by major artists like U2, Fish, and Dead & Company have made the Sphere a legitimate cultural destination rather than just a novelty. The city has invested heavily in sports and major events as a long-term strategy, and that strategy is generating returns. The Formula One Las Vegas Grand Prix has already established itself as one of the most glamorous events on the F1 calendar, with the race running down the Strip past the illuminated casino facades in a setting no other race can match. WrestleMania 42 is scheduled for April 2026. The MLB Athletics' new ballpark in Las Vegas is expected to open in time for the 2028 season. MLS may be next. The portfolio of sports assets Las Vegas has assembled in a short period of time is genuinely remarkable for a city that had no major professional sports franchises as recently as 2017. But the fundamental question, whether Las Vegas can rebuild its value proposition to the price-sensitive leisure traveler who made up the backbone of its pre-pandemic business, is not answered by Formula One and WrestleMania. It's answered by resort fee policy, by parking policy, by the minimum bet at a blackjack table at 10 o'clock on a Tuesday night, by whether the cocktail waitress makes it to your table before you've given up and ordered a $12 Starbucks latte instead. The city has reinvented itself multiple times across its history, from railroad stop to mob playground to Rat Pack casino culture, to family-friendly theme park resort in the 1990s, to luxury destination in the 2000s, to sports and entertainment capital in the 2020s. Each reinvention was driven by an honest assessment of what wasn't working and a willingness to change something fundamental about the experience. The family-friendly 1990s experiment, roller coasters at the Excalibur, pirates at Treasure Island, circus acts at the Circus Circus, ultimately gave way to the sleek luxury of Bellagio and Wynn because that's what the market demanded when the demographic shifted. Las Vegas reads the room. It has always read the room. The current moment is calling for that kind of reassessment. The fees are visible. The pricing resentment is documented. The numbers are declining for 12 straight months. Las Vegas has always known how to read a room. The room has now clearly communicated what it thinks. The question is whether the casino operators, who have spent 5 years extracting every possible dollar from every possible interaction, are willing to hear that message and respond to it before the decline becomes structural rather than cyclical. The numbers from 2025 make it pretty clear that as of right now, a lot of people have decided the deal isn't worth it, and that is why nobody goes to Las Vegas anymore. It's not what you think. If this video helped you understand what's actually happening in one of America's most watched cities, hit the like button and subscribe. We break down the real stories behind the numbers every week. New videos every week.